Hi everyone, my name is Shannon Joy and I am an artist from Springfield, Missouri, and I'm here to teach you some brush strokes and different things about painting today, and I'm super excited. Heart health is very near and dear to my own heart. When I was 27 years old, I had what they called a mini heart attack, which meant that I didn't have all of the factors, I didn't have any blockages, but my heart was so stressed that I was producing elevated troponin levels, which is the hormone that your body produces when you have a heart attack. And so they called them mini heart attacks, and they told me that my heart wall was weak. And it took a lot of work to get that back to a point where I was healthy and strong. And so I know that oftentimes people think that just because you're young, you don't have to worry about your heart. And I was young and I was training for a half marathon, and I really thought that I was incredibly healthy, but it's so important that we do take care of what we eat and what we put in our bodies, and pay attention to our bodies. And I think it's amazing that your company is taking time out to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. We will be talking about some brush strokes, and obviously we've got a couple of examples of things that you can paint today, but if you don't want to paint those and you just want to go wild, I think that's awesome, and I would love to see the results of what you paint. So I'm not sure if you're an experienced artist or if you are just experimenting with us today for the first time, but I wanted to show you some quick and simple techniques and some things that you can do to make your paintings really stand out. We're going to start with the first example, the very soft heart, and we'll kind of go with mixing colors. We'll start with there, and then I'll talk about your background real quick. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to make sure that you have everything that you need. Obviously, in order to paint, you will want to have some sort of canvas or some sort of surface that you want to paint. And then I have the primary colors here. You can also mix secondary colors or just have a whole lineup of colors if you want to do it that way. But I can make basically anything from the primary colors, and so that's what I typically use when I paint. And then black and white, depending on which painting you're going to be doing, you may want one or both of those colors on hand. And then you will want to have your brushes. So I noticed that in the supply list, they had a couple that I wanted to kind of cover with you. So you've got your flat shading brush, you've got your filbert brush, and then you have your round riggers. And so I'm going to kind of show you a few techniques with each of those. There are also the detail line brushes in that kit. And if you want to do really detailed branches or, you know, the grass strokes or anything like that, you can use those for those, but we won't be going through that today. So you'll also want to have a palette of some sort, and if you don't have a palette, that's not a big deal. A paper plate will do. Anything like that is perfectly fine to mix your paint on, and you'll want to have some water and some paper towels in order to wipe your brushes out. So we'll get started, and the first thing that we'll talk about is the background. So we're going to start with the soft painting that has the big heart on it, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix just a tiny bit of red with a whole lot of white, and I do have this white kind of watered down here because that gives me a better spread on my canvas. And you might notice I'm using the flat shading brush. That's just because it covers more surface. If you have a big puffy brush, a lot of times those do very well, especially if you're mixing different colors. And so for me, I don't want to mix this all the way because I do like that streaky look. And so I'm not going to mix my colors all the way before I put them on the canvas. I'm just going to kind of keep it. If you look real closely, it's kind of white and red and kind of all mixed together in there. And I'm just going to go up and down and put some of those stripes in there. Just real easy. Okay, as you can see, I covered the entire canvas, and you do always want to have your entire canvas covered. It just protects the canvas a little bit better, and it also makes your painting look a little bit more uniform. And so you always want to have some sort of background on your canvas, and that can even be white if you would like. I do tend to go with more medium tones just because then I can really see what the shading that I'm doing looks like. Just paint the background and have fun with it. And then what we're doing next, since this heart is kind of blended in, it's very soft, very mellow looking, and so while that paint is still a little bit wet, we're gonna just take some blue and put that with this very watery white over here and create a different color that's still in that similar range. And we're just gonna put our little heart in there. With that still being wet, and then you can see the pink through this just a little bit. Gives it a real soft look. And for this, I'm still using the flat shading brush. If you use the side, get a very clean edge. And then we'll let that dry just a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and rinse my paintbrush out. And we'll add a touch of black to do that outline. And then add colors as you see fit to give it the look that you want. I really like this purple gray color that's coming up on my canvas. I don't know if you can see what I'm mixing here, but just play with it until it's a color that you like. So if you don't know, red and blue make purple. If you mix yellow with blue, it's going to be green, and if you mix yellow with red, you'll get an orange. And those are kind of the basic colors. Then I'm going to take the side of that flat brush, and I'm just going to create an outline around this heart. Nice and easy. And if you want to put a word on there, I really like doing calligraphy with the new paint pens. If you haven't tried them, they're really fun to play around with. It's like markers, but a little longer lasting and better quality, and it's really fun. But you can just write a word. I know that the example photo says grace, but that is the extent of that first painting. And obviously this is a little darker. If you want to put more white in it, feel free to do that if you want to match the colors exactly, or whatever you would like to do. But yeah, just keep it streaky, keep it easy, keep it fun, and that is the first painting. Okay, we're gonna start on the second painting, which is really fun, but for that one, you're gonna want a smaller brush because we're still gonna cover the whole canvas, but you're gonna cover it in different colors. Now, one thing about working with acrylics is there's not a whole lot of blending that you can do unless you do it on your board. You really want to layer your acrylics when you're looking at the canvas itself. And so we're gonna start with just a little bit of white here and get the basic shape of our heart. And the reason we do that is because this picture has a lot of white in it. And so we kind of want to just bring that around to where we see the basic shape. And you probably can't see that on camera, but what we're going to do next is we'll add in a little color, just here and there. And obviously no two paintings are the same, so if you were expecting me to do exactly the same painting as the examples, you are out of luck. That just doesn't happen in real life. But we'll just start layering in colors and see how when you put the blue with the red, it turns into that purple. Beautiful. Add a little more white. Now, one thing I want to point out is when you're coming in with your bright colors, what you'll want to do is you'll definitely want to let this dry before you do your bright colors. When you are layering acrylics, those bright colors don't show up very well if you try to blend them with other colors. So I'm not going to put any yellow on this yet. You cannot be a perfectionist. It will not turn out the same at all anytime. It's going to be different every time. This is, you do want to use a little brush, and you'll see that I'm mixing different colors here on the canvas straight or onto the palette directly. And that helps with not getting muddy colors, because you just want to kind of brush those in. If your paint is too wet, it will end up blending with the other paints, and you'll end up with just a brown painting. It will just look like everything's kind of together. So if you want really clear, distinct colors here, you want to wait until it's a little drier to put more color on. And just kind of go in layers, you know, put all your yellows in, and then mix up a different color on your canvas and put that in. I'm going to go with a little bit lighter color here, and just have fun with it. This is a great way to just let go and relieve stress and not worry about anything. So think of it as something to have fun. Don't worry about making it exactly perfect. You'll see in the example picture, there's quite a few little spots and speckles, and so you can just add those in a little bit at a time. Put some white here, just wherever you like. Brighten it up a little. Let's put some yellow. Just make sure that you are bringing together very dry paint. You don't want water on your brush. That's all I got for this one. Literally, that's all it is. So just really have fun with it. As you can see, this one turned out a little different, but I think it's still cute. And everyone is going to be different, so do not worry about it. Just enjoy the process. All right, and for the last one, this is kind of what I'm known for. I actually hide at least 10 hearts in every one of my paintings, which is something that is unique to me. And the reason that I do that is because I believe that you always find what you look for in life. And I believe that we should be looking for moments of joy in everything that we do. And obviously that leads to a healthier life overall. When you're less stressed and you're looking for things to be grateful for, you will find them, and it just makes life in general a lot easier. And so I hide hearts in my paintings to remind people to look for the love and the joy in our lives. Just so you know, you can mix it up. You can make it look like whatever you want, but we'll start with the background, and you will start with that flat brush again. And instead of going up and down like we did on the first painting, we're going to go side to side. So for the last one, we're just going to run through it real quick. Again, you want to cover your whole canvas. So instead of going with up and down strokes, we're going to go with side to side strokes to get that sunset look. And you always start with the lightest color. So we're going to start with some white, and I've got this flat brush here, and I'm going to start with a little bit of white right in the middle where I want that horizon line. And then take that out, I'll put some yellow here, just bring that out around it. And don't be too picky with it. When you're talking about the water and the sky, it always looks different every single day, so you can't mess it up. I'm just going to add that white back into the middle there. And that's the best part about painting with acrylics, is you can always change the color. And if I want more white after this dries, I can just go back in and go right over it with a streak of white, and it'll be pure white. Just depends on what you're looking for. I love this light yellow white, so I think I'm going to leave it like that. And then we're going to add just a touch of red to my yellow here, make some orange, take that up, and I think I'll add a little more yellow to that. And just keep on going with that until you've got your background. And if you want to add a little bit more in there, you can add some blue in with that red, maybe add a little white to lighten it up a little bit. Really like to bring in some purple here. Look how pretty that is. Just a little purple. I feel like Bob Ross when I say that. Add a little more blue. Lighten it up, you can add more white. Just keep layering those on top of each other. And bring it down a little into the bottom of the sky. Add a little bit more blue here. Maybe a little more white in here. The water's going to be a little darker than what you're looking at with the sky usually. If you want to make it really look like water, you do little short choppy strokes with the side of your brush. And then we'll start on the trees. So for the background, we're gonna do our little land masses that come out and touch the center, so you have your horizon line. And we'll start in one corner, and you'll notice that I'm doing the side of this flat brush and just kind of pull it along. You don't want it to be very perfect because obviously nature is not perfect. And that's the start of your horizon line there. Then you'll do the other side and just bring it out. Got some little land masses there. And then for the trees, if you want to bring them forward, you either give them color or make them a lot darker. So I'm just going to make them black. And you can start kind of in the middle where you want your trunk to start. Just sweep that up. Decide how wide you want your trunk. Bring that around. And don't worry about how thick that is for now, because we're going to thin that out with those little brushes. Now, one thing that I want you to notice here is that you can create different shapes by shaking it along, maybe give it a little bark. Then you start in the center. We're going to make this one a little bigger. We want our heart to be a little lopsided here. And then when you're looking at the land, if you want it to look a little bit more sandy, you're going to go side to side, little tiny brush strokes here. I'll give you kind of that sandy beach feel. Or if you want it to feel like grass, take it up and down. A little bit longer strokes. Get some grass going, maybe a little bit of both. Just feel out what's right for you. Then if we want to add our branches on here, we'll just take this little round rigger brush and just dip the tip of your paint in there. And we're going to draw that out. And branches aren't perfect, so you want it to be a little messy here. You just trail that off into the distance and change the pressure. So when you're up close to the big branch, you want to be a little harder on your brush, and as you get further away, just come out a little ways, and that gives you that real soft, delicate branch. So you can see that I finished these branches here, and I'm just going to add some little hearts to in the shape of leaves. So I'm going to bring this up close so you can see kind of what I'm doing. I'm going to do it with a really fine detail brush. So the tiny little brushes that you have in your kit, I'm going to use one of those. And so what we'll do is we'll just take that and take the point and you just dab that on. You've got a heart. Dab that on. Now obviously you don't have to put hearts everywhere. You can just do this and have a nice leaf shape. And that's totally fine. I just like to hide hearts in my paintings. So that's what I'm gonna do on these. And there we are, it's all done. Simple and easy and so much fun. Thank you all for coming tonight. Just a reminder, if you do feel like sending things to me, it's shannonjoy.art. That's my Instagram and my website. And also, if you would like to post to the bridge so everyone at G&A Partners can see what you were doing during this activity, that would be awesome. Thank you.